What is it you want people to feel when they first walk in here?
To feel instantly relaxed, because naturally, well, for most of our clients, they feel quite sort of overwhelmed by the whole idea of coming to Savile Row. They might have been to another tailor's before, but not on Savile Row, or, you know, been to higher luxury premium shops, but never something like this. So it's always that unexpected. So we want clients to feel chill and
Do you think it also helps that as a female as well, rather than, I know what Savile Row is like, and it's, you know, the stuffy suited man. Do you think that's different?
in terms of me being a female?
Yeah, they walk into it's more relaxed atmosphere, and then they work with you.
Yeah, my clients tend to say like, oh, you know, I like the fact that you're a woman and you've got a different point of view on things, and like your taste. I mean, it's all these things that kind of have to come together as well. So I guess it's like their wife or girlfriend kind of advising them. So it's not like, you know, a lot of them say, well, I don't want a man telling me how to look like them, whereas my view will be completely subjective, and I'll just be like, these colours work for you, these styles work for you, and they're just like, oh, great, don't have to think about it. So,
do you think there is a little bit like, you know, they want to ask their wives or their girlfriends, do they look good in this, but they're unsure about their opinion, and yours almost comes across as that the wife opinion?
Yeah. They do ask their wife, and then they're kind of like, when they say, oh, I've gone to a tailor and she's like, you know, told me these colours work for me, and things. I mean, it can be scary, because then I've got to get like double sign off. But for the most part, they're like, oh, thank God, you know, you using someone and taking it seriously. So it's kind of like guidance. It's sometimes that thing when people close to you don't always listen to, but then you go, oh, I know, I've had a great idea, I'm going to go and look good, and then you're like, what? So yeah.
So what got you into this world? Was there a defining moment?
I've always loved fashion and luxury, but the way that it was, I didn't love so much, because I worked for Harvey Nichols, Harrods, Selfridges, all sorts of top brand department stores, and it was all quite stuffy, and we'd have celebrities coming in, and we were meant to be like really, you know, serious and uptight, and I was like, all they want is to have fun, you know, like have people coming in wanting a bit of a giggle. And you're meant to be like, oh, hello, like, you know, I am your servant or whatever. And it just felt a bit odd. And so that was one part of it. And then I started working for a company that had a bespoke tailoring department downstairs. And I was like, I love this. This is so cool. And they were like, you work upstairs, up you go. And I was like, but. And in my mind, I was like running the whole department and like designing collections. And I thought, this is what I want to do. I love this. And so when I eventually set up on my own, having worked for several tailors, I decided that I would bring non-pretentious luxury to the tailoring world, where dad jokes are welcomed. They just slip out.
We'll do those at the end, the dad jokes.
Or mum jokes.
Mum jokes, yeah, we'll get to those in.
And, you know, just have a laugh together. It's like you're here to look good, but feel good as well. And it's got to be an enjoyable experience, you know, because, and a lot of them say, oh, that was painless. That was much easier than I thought. And I was like, what were they thinking, you know?
Do you think then the sort of the definition of what luxury is has changed? You know, when you talked about that stuffiness, and, you know, in your view, how does it look now, luxury?
Yeah, I think, you know, back in the day, so my grandparents lived on Jermyn Street. We'd go to, you know, nice restaurants, but it was all very rigid. And, you know, I was like, oh, you know, I love parts of this, but then I don't like the sort of hierarchy of, you know, the waiters being disrespected or things like that. It's like we all should be on an even keel and a level of respect. And, you know, I've seen reports, I don't know if this is still the case, but let's say, for example, luxury brands, and sometimes people like the snootery because then they feel worthy of spending the money, you know, the look up and down. But it's so old hat, you know, and people want the experience. Whether you're, you know, super wealthy, mega wealthy, we all have personalities, you know, and so I do think there's a fine balance. You know, you've got to be serious about what you do. You have to have the craftsmanship, but also to have the personality in the offering as well, and not just assume that everyone wants the same kind of experience. You can be silly but professional, and it's that fine line.
But yeah, because I suppose it's, that traditional thing is the suit and tie, and you're not doing that, are you? Yours is.
Haven't seen a tie for years.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, much more, because people, I don't need tailoring. I don't really wear a suit anymore, and I'm like, well, as you can see in my design home, that most of it is like smart jeans, smart casual looks, So most of my clients kind of say, nailed the business side, suit, shirts, that's quite easy. Nailed the rock t-shirt and the scruffy jeans. It's that bit in the middle, I call it smart casual, business casual, and then the smarter casual, my new term, which is, just a bit different. And so that's what I'm doing more of these days than suits, and ties, I don't know.
Yeah, and does it, I'm sort of thinking about, like, from the personality of a person when they're walking it and the confidence that they have. Are they looking for you to help sort of define those, right? I'm going to work, I'm going to an event, I'm going to this. Is that package you're pulling together?
Exactly, yeah. So I've written a book which is about style strategy, and it's all about the sort of key pillars of pieces that men need in their wardrobes. So like what colours, and having them think about their life in full. So where are they spending their time? Business meetings, travelling. Because if you've got tons of suits but actually you're never in the boardroom, and you've just then got loads of redundant clothing, it doesn't make sense. So I very much say, right, where are you going? They'll say, I'm travelling here to about 10 different countries. So you need durability, practicality, fabrics that don't crease, but also look luxurious. And people don't often know that those two can go together. You can have luxury fabrics that are practical, because everyone thinks, soft silk, it's going to be your crumpled heap, high maintenance. But yeah, invest in it properly, get it right. Yeah,
because I think that's one of those things, is like clothes, aid confidence. And is it, when people are coming in here, obviously they might have a lack of confidence in what they're going to wear, and you're trying to give them. But at the same time, do you get where you're suggesting things that it's not what they would normally go for, but
Definitely.
It works for them?
Yes. I had a lovely new client last week who was like, I just wear navy. I mean, all my clients go, Alec, like, I'm going to be like, what?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I've never seen this colour. What? Show me.
Navy, not me.
And it's like, and I'm not going, I could make you another navy jacket, but I was like, overall, my job is to challenge you, but I would never put someone in ridiculous colour or just go, let's be funky for the sake of it. Because I've seen like some designs and I'm just like, it doesn't suit him. He doesn't look comfortable in it. And that's not the point. You want, I've got clients that I've had for 20 years because they trust my taste, knowledge. So if I put them in something that they just won't like, and there is that initial kind of go, I've never worn this. I won't, but see how good it looks. Like your eyes sparkle, something lifts, and they're like, yeah, it's true actually. Because I said, if I keep designing you the same old thing, you'd be like, nothing's changed. What was the point? And that's not my, it's not my job.
And what's your balance between what you think's what works for them and your own brand ethos? I mean, where do they merge? Where do they meet?
Well, I'm very clean lines. I prefer like smooth, buttery texture, tones and textures versus like bold checks and going funky just for the sake of it. There's quite very few of my clients who would be like, let's go completely eccentric. I think that place is for someone else. I'm like interesting colours, interesting textures, interesting pairings. For example, like even like a smooth pair of flannel trousers with a bespoke leather jacket and a tailored t-shirt can look sexy, because I do, I want my guys to look sexy as well.
I'm sure they want to look that as well.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, if I must, so it's kind of doing it cleverly and just simplicity and just really flattering cut, just no fuss. That's my bag.
And is there like an immediate, when they put it on, I mean, you've gone through this journey with them, and then they put it on. do you get this confidence from you? Can you see what do you see when they feel when they put these clothes
Yeah,
on?
that is to me the biggest gift. Like, you know, when they just go on and I can tell, I was like, that's going to drop on a dream. And they're just like, oh, you know, who's this guy? You know, but not in a, it can't be distorting. It can't be like someone's done a full 360 and they're just, you know, not them at all. They have to kind of look the better version of themselves. Most of them go, I actually never knew I could look like this. I would have never chosen this colour, but I'm so glad you convinced me, you know, and that's where I've got to be confident to kind of go, yep, you know, because, you know, they're spending money on it. So I can't be like, yeah, have it. It doesn't matter if you don't like it. You know, it's like, I have to be confident that I know what their final reaction will be when they tried it on.
And obviously, because a lot of our clients, they're sort of traveling, and I'm sure, you know, many of your clients as well. So are you creating wardrobes that are around, you know, business, but, you know, getting away and movement and all the travel?
Yeah, so comfort is definitely key. No one wants to like feel hemmed in, restricted, but then you do want flattering tailoring, which means not loose and baggy. I know there's like a looser fit going on, but it's not for everyone because people say trends, but it's like most of my clients are 45-year-old men plus. So, you know, suddenly looking like overly trendy, I know they're not going to look or feel that comfortable in it, but then there's comfort in different ways. So yeah, travel in terms of like flexible fabrics, like stretch jersey, like stretch is a great thing as well. So people can move around.
Yeah, I see all those styles. I see, like, you know, Harry Styles with his big trousers, and my son's
he's a
wearing
young
all those
pop
things,
star.
and I'm looking and going, oh, I'm too old for that, you know.
And you'd feel like a tit. Pardon
yeah. Well, people say I feel like a tit. I'm like a tit most of the time anyway. So, like, you know, but feeling like it as well. So, what I was going to say. So, I'd like to just go through a few destinations and things. You know, we're talking about people traveling and things like that. So, if someone's, you know, they're packing for, you know, business trip, whether it's like New York, Monaco, or some, you know, somewhere where they maybe going for the weekend, what sort of advice, what you give people as, you know, as thoughts?
Yeah, core staples. I mean, I said I came back from Cannes on Tuesday, and I had the smallest hold-all bag, and my friend was like, "What on earth have you got in there? Like, you can't have hardly anything." She had a massive suitcase, and I said, "I've got 7 outfits in there, you know, but have them all practical." And that's why I design a capsule wardrobe for my clients. So you don't need volumes of clothing, but once you kind of got your formula, then you can kind of add to the collection. But you only really need like 2-3 sports jackets, you know, a few shirts. And as long as you've got a complete, you know, set of pieces and that mix and match, you don't need a huge amount of stuff. And of course, if they're all practical fabrics, you can roll them up and they just bounce out.
Yeah, that idea of the capsule is, you know, for me is like, it's an amazing theory that I do almost feel like I just need someone to go, right, you know, how many of these do you need? How many of these you can wear that with that? It's that sort of matrix.
That's exactly my job. Yeah, that's what we sell most of. Yeah.
And then what about when, you know, they're maybe away? Because we do have a lot of some clients who they're going for work, but they're also mixing it in with sort of vacation with family as well.
Yeah.
Similar sort of like idea around the wardrobe.
Yeah, probably a bit more laid back. So again, that's when we like talk about that lifestyle audit. What are you doing this year? Because also you don't want to feel like you're going to work when you're on holiday with your family, but you probably want some like cotton, linen blend shirts and some nice tailored shorts and like laid back trousers. So I think it's good to compartmentalize your wardrobe as well. So if you like business suits with serious business, and then, you know, like have areas, and when you're on holidays, like nice to get out your specific.
I think we're talking about holidays. We're going Pacific and specific.
Yeah, Ocean Pacific.
Yeah.
Pacific outfits. It's quite nice, isn't it?
Okay. And is there like a must-have item that, you know, every man should have when it comes to clothing?
Well, at the moment, it's my bespoke leather jacket and suede bomber. Well, it's Alcantara actually, which people go, oh yeah. That's when they know it's inside a Ferrari or a Porsche, the interior. But it's really cool. So yeah, not typical tailored items at all, really. But sports jacket goes far because, you know, if you had a smart t-shirt and smart trousers or jeans, or even like it was a little bit toned down, a nice jacket kind of lifts everything. So it's quite a pillar piece in most wardrobes.
So things are changing. Is tailoring evolving as well? I mean, I'm not just talking about obviously with fabrics, but techniques and shapes. And I mean, where's it all moving?
Yeah, I mean, I very much keep it like, and my clients all say, you know, I want it, you know, tailored. And like when jacket's too short, you can't get a nice waistline. Too long, looks like you borrowed your dad's jacket. So it's like, you know, you've got a golden ratio of the face. So we look to the eyes and then we move down. Exactly the same with tailoring. And you look at the shoulders and they've got to be sharp. If you're like, it's just all the odd assumptions we make about people. It's like, oh, the jacket doesn't fit. It's hanging off yours fine, don't worry. You're like,
I was literally just there. It's like I'm like being sat with a psychologist. And I was like, this interview was good. Oh God, I've got someone just.
You're like, what's she thinking about me?
Yeah.
You're amazing. Don't worry. But yeah, it's all about proportions and like balancing our clients, so it makes the most of them rather than going, right, this is our template for everyone and it's all the same.
And then in terms of how have you evolved? You know,
stayed the same.
Stayed the same.
No. I mean, so I've been running the business it'll be 19 years this year, and I started doing navy suits, grey suits. You know, day in, day out. There was no such thing really as like the wardrobe and a sports jacket. But after the pandemic, rather than completely lose my marbles and think I'm doomed, I kind of thought, oh, it's quite exciting actually. There's an opportunity for me to use my creative skills because not every tailor is design minded. So I very much think in pictures. I love colours. I can automatically see how things go together. I can automatically see what will suit each individual client, you know, and considering I look after hundreds of people, they can't all rock around looking the same.
Yeah.
So I kind of brought all that knowledge together. I always say celebrities have entourages like stylists, designers, etc. But I do that all for my clients. So it's just effortless, easy. I don't have to go shopping and think about it. So it really is using my skill to design all the pieces. So knitwear, bomber jackets, jeans, all the things you never would have really seen in tailoring before.
And what techniques do you have? You know, when you speak to the client, is it mood boards? Do you show them things? How do you work?
Yeah, so I do have a mood board that I show on screen, which captures the essence of what I'm going to create for them. Sometimes my clients, because they're quite logical and they're like in law and finance, they can take it literally. But I'm like, it's just a vibe and a mood. And then the exact fabrics, the exact designs, then we talk about it together and I make my suggestions. But you have some people that like hands-on with it and some people like, you know what you're doing, it's fine, you know, like get on with it sort of thing, which is quite nice.
And I know these, you know, these guys, you know, they have money, but can money be an issue when it comes to clothes? In
what kind of way?
You know, they're used to, you know, popping down suit supplies or, you know, they're used to buying off the shelf. I mean, what's provoked them, to sort of come and see you, and then, you know, you're looking at the costings afterwards, because immediately it's going to leap, but... Yeah.
No, it's interesting because, you know, we've got very wealthy clients, you know, they're like, yeah, I drive a Ferrari and I'll go on holiday. And then I was like, but your image is out there. And I know a lot of people kind of go, oh, yeah, but that's a bit superficial. And sorry, but why have you got a Ferrari then? You know, but actually it's like you are the walking person. You're the one getting in and out of the Ferrari. But sometimes it's just not on people's radar. They wouldn't think, you know, they think, as I say, tailors, suits, don't need a suit. So, you know, and, you know, if they're going to search for a stylist, I don't know. So it's kind of, our offering is quite different. So sometimes it's just a case of our clients can say, Oh, do you know what I'd love is to open my wardrobe and just know everything works together, everything suits me, everything fits, and they don't mind how much it costs. They just never would have thought to spend that much money. But yeah, the catalyst tends to be change of age. So, you know, the big numbers, 40, 50, I don't feel that big anymore. 40, 50, or, you know, change of job position, even being divorced, and they're like, I want to invest in myself and, you know, look different, feel different. And for the most part, my clients say I've used other tailors, I've used other shops, and I still don't, I won't swear, I don't look as good as I want to. Like, maybe she's got the answer. I've got the answer. So.
And I think that is the difficulty. I was thinking about this because it is, you know, I remember like being a teenager and, you know, wearing the long sleeve tops and the hair, and you were forming part of it. And actually, because you didn't really care when you were younger, but as you get older, you become, I don't know, a little bit more responsible, and then you're in a role where you have to meet, you know, you're working in an environment with some wealthy people and businesses and luxury, and you're going, but I don't want to be. I'm not that. I maybe don't want to be that, but I need to be part of it.
Yeah. Some people pride themselves going, oh, I don't care, and I look dishevelled, and they don't care until they care, and they kind of go, okay, I get it now. I mean, my girls were laughing at me yesterday and saying, Mum, it's like you're just getting better with age. I'm like, oh, thanks, hope it keeps going. They're like, and my husband's laughing, went, yeah, you look kind of like frumpy and mumsy in your mid-20s, you know, and they're like, now you look slick and stylish. So it does make a big difference. I said, the hair makes a difference. The way you present yourself, you know, it is pride in yourself. Ultimately, it's about yourself. It's not, oh, everyone else is going to think I'm really like on it. You know, it feels good for yourself, which then exudes something else, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, because I was asking it, is it about, is confidence within what you're wearing about how you feel, or is some of it from how you think other people perceive you?
Yeah. It has to be what you know, if I was going around thinking, oh, I hope people like this outfit, and, you know, then I wouldn't feel so confident. But if I'm like, this feels like me, feels like I've got my kind of look, which I try to create for my clients, is like they have their vibe, their look, something they know suits them. You naturally give off a different confident aura, and then people by default kind of go, she looks like she knows her stuff. If I was sat here, you know, like scruffy, I mean, I might be able to get away with it, I guess, like the artists. But, you know, but ultimately I've got to feel good and comfortable with it. But if I look a bit sort of unsure of myself, then my clients won't be sure of me. And it's the same with men in business. But, you know, you can't apply that to when you go on holiday. You want to be like the best dressed man by the pool or whatever. Well, not if you're only wearing all of our brown shirts, but, you know.
He might be watching this, actually. We know a few of the guys from down there.
Ah, nice.
Down there as well.
I'm a fan of the brand.
Yeah. So is there a moment when you're, you know, working with these guys that they get it, whatever it is?
Yeah, working with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always still the anxiety until it's actually made, and they go, oh, do you know what? I've completely forgotten what I've ordered. It goes out their heads, and then we piece it together. So I do a styling session with them when they bought a capsule. So this piece goes with this piece, and they're just like, oh yeah, I love it. You know, they probably couldn't see it until that point, but it's just one of those life's moments, isn't it? You know, everyone suddenly gets to that point or doesn't. Whereas, like, yeah, I want to do this. And it's a nice moment. I see it special because they're trusting me, you know, to make them look good. And I just don't want to let them down either. And when I see their faces like bing, and I've never had so many compliments, like, that's a cool thing.
Have you ever worked with someone and it just hasn't worked? Or you've gone, no, I think you need to go somewhere else?
There's a couple of people there who say, oh, I really want that. And I just go, why? And they laugh because I go, oh, why? Because I'm trying to be like diplomatic about it. And I don't think it's going to suit you. And when it's gone wrong is when I've not been firm in that. And I've kind of gone, you know, probably the earlier days when you kind of bit more people pleasy, and you just want, oh, they want it. So whereas now you get, you get in your flow and your game, and I know what works, I know what that end result's going to look like. So I do say, I just wouldn't, but I try to be like, it just, if you're going to wear black, it should only be with a dinner suit. And of course, there's some people that suit black, but it tends to drain most people's skin colour. So why would you choose that over something that's going to be better? And they're like, fair point.
Go on. So back to the beginning, when someone walks in, what's the brief? Is the brief, I'm looking for new clothes? Is it, I need the wardrobe? Or is it more personal?
I'd say it's deeply personal. Yeah, it's more personal than people realise, because people do think clothes like, oh yeah, superficial, but it's something deeper. Essentially we are, as human beings, we want to be seen and heard for the right reasons. Some people not so right reasons, but so the people I attract are the people just like, some of them even like coming to retirement, and they're just like, do you know what, if I'm only going to be working for the next 2-3 years, I want to look the best I've ever done. I've got the money, I can afford to do this, so give it a shot. So yeah, it is, as I say, people divorce, people tend to like have that image change, lose a bit of weight and kind of go, what do I want from my life? What do I want to feel? And image is always like top of the list with those things, isn't it?
So in terms of your own brand and your own image, we're 20 years down the line. What's your legacy? What is it that you hope that you presented and what that you've given men when they've been in here?
Oh, that is deep. Ooh. I'm going to take a moment. For them to feel transformed. But when I say transformed, it's subtle transformation. I want my clients to look and feel the best version of themselves. And that's like deep within their core as well. My message, underlying message, is fairly deep. I won't go into the whole story of it, but it's that connection, feeling like, and also like you get to 45, 50 plus, there's that sort of underlying insecurity of like, am I still relevant? I don't want to be clinging on to my 20s, but I don't want to look like a fusty old man either. So where's that fine line as well? So the legacy is like transforming men's images, image architects, moving from Savile Row tailoring as we know it to full transformation that feels exciting and true.
I feel like you were like reading my mind there and like looking at me and
like,
going, there's a guy. I'm going to use you as an example, Darren, and this is the sort of person you are. And then I think sort of finally, just to wrap up, because we've got, apparently summer is on the way. Some top tips for what men should be wearing this summer.
Yeah, simplicity. Well, I could say categorically what not to wear. Cargo shorts, cannot stand them. Too many pockets on a short, I just don't know. Shorts have to come to mid-thigh. We're on a video, so I can do that. Cool fabric. There's so much choice in terms of like great fabrics in the tailoring world. Maybe not off the peg. Where, linen blends. So linen typically was like a crumpled heap, but you've got fabric technologies which make it bounce back, got blends of cotton and linen. So just going for something a bit different, and that doesn't mean wacky, funky colours. In fact, I kind of don't want it to. It's subtlety. It's just going for something a little bit different. So
okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure. Thank you.
I hope you didn't find it too stressful.
It's the best fun I've ever had.
I feel like I've been psychologically evaluated, so I'm like,
You're like, what would she put me in?
It's only Monday, but I might have to go for a drink after this.
You are, aren't you?
Thank you.
Thanks.